My personal branding agency does $15,000 per month with under 700 followers. And I didn't get there by doing cold outreach, paid ads, or even a viral post. I did it by building one thing: a trust asset that closes the deal before the call ever happened. And our clients have made over $200,000 in a single month in cumulative revenue throughout our entire portfolio. And we've also shipped 1,000 content pieces through this one system. And that is the Creator Engine system. And the principle underneath it is very simple. Trust is the main priority. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the simple 3-step methodology that allows you to turn YouTube into a nurture asset that closes deals before the first call. And it only takes one simple shift in order for this to happen. You simply stop trying to be in front of 100,000 people and become the voice of the one room with the right people. Before any of this worked, I was running the most generic version of an agency that you could ever think of. I had a very bloated offer with a bunch of deliverables. I had a bloated team. I was paying thousands just to get the fulfillment done, and I barely had any margins to work with, which at that point, I'm not even sure if you could call that a business. Sure, I was making $10,000 in top line revenue, but after you remove all of the expenses, I could barely buy a burger. From the outside, it genuinely looked fine. You know, we had clients through the door, the team was in the channel, revenue was technically moving, but underneath all that, it was just a bunch of complexity for barely any cash. I would work 12-hour days myself just so I didn't have to spend any more on an already expensive operation. And the worst part was, I said yes to clients who lowballed the shit out of me just so I could get a little more cash for the business to stay afloat. And the funny thing was, I was selling clients on building authority online, having a personal brand, while my own was basically invisible. Nobody knew who I was, and because of that, I had zero leverage. So I made one simple bet at the start of January 2026. I stopped trying to win the volume game of outreach and trying to have the best no-brainer offer and simply build one trust asset instead. A brand that did the selling before I ever even had a proper conversation with these people. Now I run a $15K per month agency with a leaner team and with an audience of under 700 followers. And of course, the trust does the labor instead of me having to work those 12-hour days. And here's the thing that most founders and other operators get wrong. They think that the goal with content is to get as much reach as possible in order to have more chances of getting a client through the door. But the actual goal is to get as much trust built with the right people in order to be able to sign these high-ticket deals. Because reach is simply just rented attention that you have online. But trust, that is something that you can actually use to build a business and of course the connections that you need to sign these deals. So simply think of content as if it's a dinner party that you're hosting every single time you post. And here's the main difference. The cold caller, they would be the one knocking on the door, trying to pitch to you the moment they meet you. And because of that, they typically end up never opening up and chances are never responding to that knock in the first place. But a dinner party, these are people who spend hours with you at the table having conversations that you guys already love to talk about. And by the end of the dinner, you would then go ahead and tell them, would you want to do this again sometime? And of course, chances are, if the dinner was good, the vibes were great, they would say yes. It would be the same person, right? With the exact same offer that they're selling, but through a completely different trust level. And this is simply built through the time you guys have spent sitting down, having a meal, instead of just having an optimized pitch with a no-brainer offer. And yes, of course, having an optimized offer is still going to help. But if the method of showing it through the person is entirely wrong, then completely forget about signing a client. Now here's the thing though, imagine that dinner party, that exact same dinner party that you held has 100,000 people in it. All you would really get from that is a bunch of noise, a bunch of chaos, and people who typically would not be even able to connect with each other on a deeper level. But imagine that same dinner, okay? But with 10 founders who have made over $1 million in top line revenue and is currently doing 80 to 90% profit margins with their business. Imagine that small room with the right people. Imagine the conversations that would happen in there. Because most of the content advice that you get is optimized for that first room. Get 100,000 people in and hope that someone there becomes a relationship long term. But in actuality, what we do is we build for the second one. Build the room for the right people. So the core principle is very simple. You build trust as the priority. And you do that by spending hours with them instead of just trying to optimize the little time of seconds that you would have had if you just pitch right then and there. And that is exactly what the Creator Engine system does. It builds an entire ecosystem of long-form assets that nurtures your audience over time. It attracts the exact right type of buyer. You spend 7 hours with them and convert them into a book call without ever having to speak to them directly. Because if you'd ask me, I'd rather be the only voice in a room of 50 buyers than just background noise to a bunch of people who shouldn't even care in the first place. So to make it simple for you, we broke it down in 3 simple phases: foundation, production, and optimization. I want you to keep this in mind. The order genuinely matters in this scenario. So this is done very simply. You find the right room, you throw the right dinner with the right meals, and of course, the people who stayed and gave the feedback, who loved everything about it, you take that information and throw the next dinner party, given that you know what to do moving forward. So let's start with phase 1, which is the foundation. And this is simply through understanding who your ICP or your ideal client persona truly is. And there are 2 ways to find out who your ICP is. Number 1, if you already have clients right now, why not just ask them? What is the one thing that you like about our program? What made you buy from me? What are the problems that you faced before onboarding? And what have you liked so far with your experience? Simply asking a bunch of these questions from the people who already bought from you is the easiest way to understand who exactly your ICP is. But I get it, not everyone has a signed client yet. So if that's you, then what you can do is simply do the market research. Find out where they hang out. May that be Facebook, school, WAP, Discord, maybe even Reddit. Go ahead and look into these pages and find the conversations that are already happening. Look for the pain points, the problems that they face, and then provide the solution in real time. From there, you go ahead and understand your own brand outliers as well. Why should anyone even decide to work with you in the first place, and what makes you different? The thing is, we're at the point where sophistication is on a different level now. People have heard the same offer with the same promise time and time again. So what you need to do is to be able to separate yourself from the crowd and find your little bubble that you're able to sell, because you have more of an advantage there instead. Because once you figure this out, you can start creating content within your zone of genius, because you are the only person who can speak about these things because of your lived experiences and your own unique expertise. And once you have that, you now have content that only you can make and an offer that only you can sell. And the reason you want to figure this out starting out before you even make a single piece of content is because you want to make sure the type of people that you want to curate within the dinner party that you're going to throw. This can only work if you have a full understanding of who you're trying to speak to and what the message you're trying to convey to them. And you need to make sure that this decision is made before you even sit down and record in front of a camera. And the thing is, once you've identified the type of people you want to curate, you can then break that down into their demographics, into what they've tried before, what exactly are they trying to reject, what they want to do moving forward, what's the outcome that they want to have. Once you have all of these moving pieces, you can then speak about that within the content itself, which means you now have the exact pieces that allow them to feel heard and understood. And once you identify these things, you can use these angles to then deliver it in your unique way. Once again, you can use your lived experiences, the proof that you already have, the contrarian takes that only you believe that is against the current market right now. And once you know the hill that you can die on, you can then attract the right people and of course repel the people who shouldn't even be in your program in the first place. And here's the thing, almost every single person that comes to us is genuinely good at what they do. But the thing is, they've never really sat down and see who exactly am I trying to speak to And how am I any different from the other competitors that I have? That's why their content ends up becoming generic once they start posting on content, and from there they feel that, oh, content doesn't work for me. But in actuality, you just never targeted the right person. And if you skip the foundation entirely, you just end up never targeting your ICP, which then brings you a bunch of bad leads, low quality leads, or maybe even just not get any book calls in the first place. Your content would then look generic, you would not have any differentiation, and of course, the viewers who will never buy from you end up getting into the room that you should have curated from the start. And of course, I can give you all of the tactics right now and you will get it. If you want us to just take over the hassle of even implementing the system, and we can do that completely done for you, or even guide you through the implementation and the execution, then go ahead and click the first link down in the description below and we'll get you settled. Back to the video. So let's say that you finally have the foundation built out, you understand your ICP, you know your brand outliers, you know your contrarian takes. From there, you move into the production cycle of actually creating the content. So a lot of people think that in order to have a good production, all you really need is to hire a video editor and then start generating scripts off of ChatGPT, and maybe the content will pop off. So sure, you can go ahead and ask ChatGPT, make me a viral script, but is that actually going to move the business forward? So if you want to make sure that the content that you create actually moves the needle forward, you want to make sure that you have Binge Architect built into the ecosystem. You want pre-handling objection content and value density built into the brand itself. Why do these three things matter in the first place? Well, that's because this is the dinner party itself. Sure, you can have the right room and the right guests to go to that place, but if you don't serve them the right meals, then they're never gonna come back. And the goal here is actually very simple. It's to get the people in the room to spend 7 hours with you. So how it works is we look at content as an ecosystem instead of the traditional funnel. People look at top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel and think that people always consume content through a linear path. But who has actually went through Instagram and then clicked a YouTube video and then went to a VSL and then booked a call? Like, how likely does that actually happen? In reality, what it might look like might be people might spend a little bit more time on Instagram, maybe see 4 to 5 reels, and then go to YouTube, maybe watch 2 videos, go back to Instagram, watch a couple more reels, and then they go ahead and go find your website, book through the VSL, and then you get to talk to them. It's never really a linear path. Some people just go straight to the YouTube, never find the Instagram, and then book a call. But the goal here is very simple. If you build your ecosystem in the right way, understanding that people have their own tendencies of consuming content and optimize for that, then you're able to get results regardless of how they went through the funnel. So the way we do it is that every video feeds into each other. A reel can lead you to a YouTube video. A YouTube video could lead you to another YouTube video that pre-handles an objection. Another video could also lead you to our VSL, which I'll be going through later, that converts the audience right there. Because if you tackle content through this way, you're optimizing for a realistic buyer's journey instead of the ideal one. And on top of this, if you actually do this right, you basically do the Netflix effect of bingeability. So you know when you watch an episode and right at the very end, you feel like you need to keep watching, even though you said, I'll just watch one and then hop off. If you engineer your channel the exact same way, you can get someone from one video to then consume 7 hours of content in one sitting. And once this happens, you finally can see that content is a system and a nurture asset for your business instead of another checklist that you need to do. Oh, I need to post content. Oh, today's the deadline for this video, yada, yada, yada. Because this time you're actually driven by data and metrics and actual things that move the business forward instead of how many views that we generate today. Because the thing is, bad content only happens if you're working off of creativity and vibes. What happens there is you end up speaking on things that aren't aligned to your ICP just because you like speaking about them. And by all means, it's okay to create content that you like. As you can see, I'm very passionate about what I'm talking about right now. But you gotta make sure that it's aligned with your ICP. We're not talking about vibes or creativity. You wanna make sure that at the end of the day, you're optimizing your channel for the business. Because once you architect that bingeability, you have the pre-handling content, and you're able to nurture your audience, you will start to get calls that are straight laydowns. I basically just call this as taking their order for the next dinner. You get them on a call, you guys talk about how the dinner was like, and then you go ahead and ask them, do you want that again? This is basically asking them dessert after they've eaten the dinner. You would go ahead and bring them on a call, you would have a conversation about how good the content was, and you basically ask them, do you want VIP seats on the next one? And once this happens, you go through phase 3, which is to optimize for scale. So once you've gotten people to eat dessert and go ahead and go for the VIP seats, you then have the data to get more people who want more dessert, and of course get more VIP seats. And we do this through a very simple way. After you've gotten all of the data from your ICP, from getting more of calls booked, and of course the feedback from the content itself, you get to create an organic VSL that is hidden inside your own content ecosystem. On top of this, when someone also books a call, you then have a pre-call sequence that sends them the messages that you would want them to know before they ever even hop on a call with you. These are things like the client's results you've generated, the process that you'll take them through, or objections that you wouldn't want to have to handle on the call itself. And the only way you would know this is if you finally get the data from the process that you went through from phase 1 and 2. And on top of this, we even have a bot that actually tracks everything for you. We've been working closely with the founder of Trackio that allows you to find where the people that go through your pipeline actually consume the content. How many reels did they watch? How many YouTube videos did they watch? Where did they even first come from? How much cash were you able to collect from this specific video? Everything is tracked. And the reason this matters is because right now you do have the trust with your audience, but you don't currently have the leverage to use it for your business. Sure, you have great content running with a system behind it, but it's not compounding at the rate that you could be doing using all of this data behind it. So the way it works is you have this organic VSL that has all of the pre-handles, all of the data, your business model and how it works, and essentially gives it all to the buyer before the call happens. You don't give fluff, you don't try to extend it for the sake of getting more watch time to hit that 7-hour mark. You make sure that every bit of that video gives them value in order for them to look at you as the main authority in your field. And basically, once you hop on that call, it genuinely is just a confirmation that they want to do this and it's a great fit, an actual great fit, instead of just a pitch hidden behind a consulting call. And on top of this, on the data side, we use that Trackio to make sure that all of the content pieces have the right attribution so you know what to double down on. And the thing is, as you're watching this video, it might be one of two cases. It's either it's already mainstream and everyone is hopping on the train, which then means that we are the best ones because we've been ahead of the curve, or people don't even know it yet. And right now, you have the advantage of being the first mover to implement it for your content. And lastly, we have a workflow that extracts your ICP's exact words from the call itself and analyzes it to create content that is verbatim the exact words that they spoke and use it within the content. So this is no longer just theory. This is actual conversations that you have had and using it within the content in order to optimize it even more. And the thing is, with the clients that we're currently scaling right now, these three things are the most revenue moving assets that we have built for them that is consistently printing cash for their businesses. We can genuinely point at the exact videos that are making them money because of this system. So what happens is, if you skip this entire data layer, sure, you can maybe get to 10K, 20K, 30K, but in order to get to that next level, you want to make sure that you're using and tracking the data that you currently have and utilizing it within the content. And I know what you're thinking after hearing everything. The system just seems a bit too simple, but complexity isn't the solution. Before I had this, I was doing everything in the most complex way possible. I was trying to overthink, how can I optimize my outreach? How can I change my offer for the 5th time this month? Maybe I should use a different guarantee, or how can I close these sales calls cold? The thing is, every single piece and bits here had their own piece of labor and had, of course, its own revenue generating asset, but it just never compounded. It just never built anything long term. But now it's such a simple loop of just understanding who my ICP is through the foundation and the brand outliers that only I have, which I then use within the production of the content, making sure that everything is bingeable, it pre-handles the objections, and it gets to spend 7 hours with my clients before they hop on with me. And using all of the calls that we've generated and getting the exact words of our ICP and then use it inside of the content. It just does not get simpler than that. But as much as it seems like it's common sense, it took me months to fully refine the system and have it become a repeatable way for clients to just start using from day one. This is why I'm able to charge how I charge right now. Before, I would have to have this crazy offer with a bloated deliverable line and an insane team to fulfill for it, where now I just have to do less, being able to charge more because of the brand that I've built. So this is the entire Creator Engine system. This is built with trust as the priority. Not reach, not volume, not virality, it's trust. And every month we run this, we continue to refine the system. We get new data from Trackio, we get new data from content, new data from the clients themselves. But at the end of the day, the principle simply doesn't change. You build the trust in order to get the clients. And the thing is, you don't need to be everywhere, everything, all at the same time. You simply need to be the right voice for the right room and throw the best dinner party that you can have. And the thing is, you can definitely do this yourself, but if you want to just skip the hassle of trial and error that we had to face for months and months on end, then you can just book a call down below with me and my team, and we can get the foundation, the production, and the optimization for your content and your business from day one.